Pause for a moment. Inhale deeply and find a space of quiet within yourself. What you are about to hear is far more than a routine motivational talk. This is a summons, a profound reminder, a truth of such immense power that if you truly grasp it, if you allow it to saturate the very core of your being, every aspect of your existence will be transformed forever. You become what you contemplate. Listen closely. You are not defined by the opinions of others. You are not the labels the past attempted to imprint upon you. You are not your circumstances, your background, your family name, your errors, or your setbacks. You are the sum total of your own deepest convictions about yourself. You are what you permit to take root and flourish within your consciousness. For your mind is the fertile soil from which everything you experience today blossoms into being. All of it. The triumphs and the trials, what you appreciate and what you lament, what you possess, what you desire, what you aspire to achieve. It all originates from a single source, your thinking. Consider it from this perspective. Every single thought is a seed, and you, perhaps without ever realizing it, have been the gardener of your entire life. You have planted either fears or aspirations. You have sown either uncertainty or self-assurance. And the life you are living now is the precise harvest of those plantings. If each day begins with the internal refrain, life is a struggle, I am inadequate, success is not meant for me, you are actively coding your mind for failure. Regardless of your effort, if your mental operating system is set to lose, you will inevitably find ways to undermine your own progress. Your thinking is the invisible architect, meticulously drafting the blueprints for your reality. Make no mistake, this is not mere positive thinking. This is a fundamental law. Your thoughts dictate your emotions. Your emotional state then influences your choices, and your choices in turn forge your outcomes. See the cycle? It always, without exception, begins in your mind. Take an honest look at your life as it stands today. Your relationships, your physical well-being, your financial situation, your sense of self-worth. All of it is an outward mirror of an internal narrative, a story that you, often unconsciously, have been reciting to yourself on repeat. I am not capable. I am not deserving. I lack luck. I always face the same problems. That story has shaped you up to now, but today you can begin a new chapter. Today you can take up the pen and rewrite your destiny, because that pen does not belong to anyone else. It is firmly in your hand, and it all starts with a fundamental shift in what you choose to think. Ask yourself with courage, what kind of mental nourishment do I provide myself each day? Are they thoughts of empowerment or thoughts of dread? Are they thoughts that propel me forward or that pull me back? Am I thinking from a place of victimhood or from a place of creation? Listen carefully, because there are two fundamental ways to navigate life. You can wait for something in your external world to change, or you can take full command and transform what exists within. The individuals who leave a mark on the world are rarely those who started with every advantage. They are the ones who dared to think in a different way, to believe in the seemingly impossible, to perceive opportunities where others saw only barriers, to envision a new future while everyone else was busy repeating the past. They grasped a principle that you too can embrace today. Your mind is the very engine of your destiny. And no, this path will not always feel easy because your mind has been conditioned over many years. You were taught to be cautious, to fear. You were infused with the beliefs of others. You heard "you can't" so many times that you started to believe it. But there is a force more powerful than all that conditioning, your conscious decision. The decision to awaken, to challenge old assumptions, to deliberately select new thoughts, to declare, today, I claim my freedom. Today, I reprogram my mind. Today, I choose to believe in my own potential. Every single time you choose a thought of faith over a thought of fear, you are growing. Every time you choose a thought of action over a thought of excuse, you are advancing. Every time you choose a thought of gratitude over a thought of resentment, you are actively constructing a new version of yourself. And that new you is not an instantaneous miracle. It is a process, a deliberate construction, a conscious evolution. And it begins today with one decision: to choose your thoughts with intention. Because no one else can think for you. No one else can inhabit your mind. Only you have the power to cleanse, to nurture, to protect that sacred ground which is your thinking. And if you tend to it daily with patience and unwavering discipline, there will come a day when you awaken and affirm, "This is who I am. I built myself." No more borrowed thoughts, no more mental shackles, no more repeating patterns that do not serve you. Today you choose once again. Today you are renewed. Today you understand that true power was never outside of you. It never resided elsewhere. The power was always within, because you become what you think. And if you think with a sense of greatness, you will act with greatness. If you think with deep conviction, you will walk with certainty. If you think with clear purpose, you will not lose your way. This is the core principle, the foundation, the point of origin. Do not attempt to change your life if you are not prepared to change your mind. For only when you master your thoughts do you become the master of your destiny. Now that you are aware, now that you have heard this truth, that life has perhaps whispered to you amidst the chaos, now that you understand that you become what you think, the real work commences, the conscious transformation. Because knowledge alone is not enough. Understanding without application is merely empty sound. Now you must practice it, embody it, make it your way of being. And this is accomplished thought by thought, day after day, moment by moment. You do not become a new version of yourself in a single night. You do not wake up strong, free, and focused simply because you desire it. You transform when you make the decision to no longer surrender ground to what diminishes you. When you choose, even when it is difficult, to begin building a mindset that will sustain you, especially on the dark days. And that begins with observation. Observe yourself. Observe the thoughts that arise in your moments of silence. Observe the internal dialogue that plays when you stumble. Observe which voice is louder on the inside, the one that encourages you, or the one that criticizes you. Because what you think in moments of chaos is what truly governs your mind. On difficult days, you do not act in accordance with your full potential. You act according to your deepest programming. And if your mind is programmed with fear, with complaint, with "I can't," then you will replay that pattern unconsciously, like a broken record that keeps spinning. This is precisely why you must train yourself. Not just physically, but mentally. Your body can be strong, but if your mind is fragile, you will falter. And the reverse is also true. If your body is weary, but your mind is resolute, nothing will be able to hold you back. How does one train the mind? Through discipline, through intention, through small conscious acts repeated daily. Let me explain it this way. Every time you choose not to react with anger, but with calm, you are training your mind. Every time you offer thanks instead of lodging a complaint, you are training your mind. Every time, instead of dwelling on what you lack, you focus on what you can create. You are training your mind. Every time you say no to a distraction and yes to your deeper purpose, you are training your mind, and gradually, quietly, you become the master of your own being. Because the greatest danger is not an external enemy, it is a lack of internal control. It is living with a mind that leaps from thought to thought like a wild animal, without direction, without focus, without conscious awareness. Look at the world around you. The majority of people do not truly think. They simply react. They do not consciously choose. They unconsciously repeat. They do not decisively act. They merely survive. They are living out the thoughts of others, the ideals of others, dreams that are not their own, limitations they inherited, never questioned, and ultimately accepted as their own. Is this how you will live? Will you allow the mental programming of a system that often prefers you passive to define you? Will you continue to feed an identity that you did not even build with your own hands? Or will you pause, take a breath, and declare, "Today, the real me begins," because that is what you have the power to do right here, right now. You can decide to think differently, and with that single decision, everything can begin to shift. But listen to me clearly. Thinking differently is uncomfortable. Thinking differently can be painful, because when you start thinking with awareness, you realize how much time was lost, repeating narratives that did not serve you. And then, an inevitable phase arrives, internal resistance. Your old mind will protest. It will tell you not to change, to remain where you are, that it is easier to stay the same. And that is true. It is easier, but it is not more powerful. If you desire an extraordinary life, you must move through that discomfort. You must be willing to face yourself. You must cease looking for culprits on the outside and begin the work on the inside. And that is not a path just anyone takes. Anyone can complain, anyone can recite inspiring phrases, but not everyone possesses the courage to sit in solitude, to look inward, and to tell themselves, "This thought does not belong to me. This thought limits me. This thought I will now change." And then you begin. You begin to be selective about what you think, what you listen to, what you consume, and about the people you allow in your sphere. Your mind is a temple, and you cannot permit thoughts to enter like unchecked rubbish, without a filter, without control. Every thought carries weight. Every word you allow into your environment leaves an imprint. Every belief you tolerate becomes a seed that could grow and undermine you from within. So begin to shield your mind like a warrior, like an architect, who builds with precision and does not leave a single element to chance. Surround yourself with ideas that elevate you. Immerse yourself in books, in audios, in words that ignite a fire within you. And if you cannot find them, then create them yourself. Become the voice you needed to hear. Become the thought you lacked when you felt broken. Because you become what you think. And if your thoughts are strong, you will be strong. If your thoughts are clear, your vision will be steady. And if your thoughts are free, then nothing and no one will be able to confine you. This is not a trivial pursuit. This is your life, and you are shaping it with every thought you entertain. So, today more than ever, think like someone who was meant to conquer their destiny. Not like a victim, not like a spectator, not like someone waiting for a magical rescue. Think like the author of your story. Think like someone who has finally understood that the world changes when you change, and you change when you think differently. You already know who you are. You already know what you think. And you know that every thought can be a stepping stone or a prison cell. Now, it is time to protect the new ground you are rebuilding. Because there is something you must understand, once and for all. Your mind is a sacred space, and not everyone should be granted access. We live immersed in noise. Noise from television, from social media, from the streets, from conversations, unsolicited opinions, criticism disguised as concern, pessimists presenting themselves as realists. And if you are not vigilant, that noise seeps in. It infiltrates. It weakens you without your notice, draining your mental strength. This is why, if you are truly serious about this transformation, if you are truly awakening to the truth that you become what you think, then you must shield your mind as if it were a fortress. And that fortress needs walls. It needs filters. It needs guardians. Do you know the common mistake many people make? They believe that protecting their mind means hiding from the world. But it is not about isolation. It is about conscious choice. It is about ceasing to expose yourself to influences that constantly fill you with doubt, with fear, with comparison. You do not need to know what everyone else is thinking. You need to know what you believe and why you believe it. And if every day you are feeding your mind with mental clutter, toxic information, the dramas of others, and pointless debates, what kind of thoughts do you expect will inhabit your consciousness? Strength, focus, faith? Of course not. You will navigate life in a reactive survival mode, confused, without clarity, and without direction. So this is the moment for decisive action. Close the door to what does not contribute to your growth. Eliminate your exposure to what only sows internal chaos. Be fiercely protective of your attention, not because you do not care about the world, but because you are the ultimate filter. And if you are not well, nothing in your world can be. Do you know what else you must guard? The very words that leave your lips. Because your speech actively feeds your thinking, and often, without realizing it, you are destroying yourself with your own language. I always fail. I'm not good at that. Everything is harder for me. Every phrase of that nature is another brick in the prison you are constructing in your own mind. So, begin to speak like someone who intends to be free. Speak like someone who is in the process of rebuilding. You do not have to deceive yourself, but you also do not have to continue feeding what breaks you down. Speak with self-respect, honoring your own evolution, refusing to negotiate with your own excuses. And when your language changes, your thoughts will change. And when your thoughts change, your decisions will transform as well. Now, listen closely. There will come a point on this journey where you may feel alone. Because when you stop thinking like the majority, you stop fitting in with the majority. And that can be painful. It hurts to see that people you cared for no longer understand you. It hurts to realize you have grown while others have remained behind. It hurts to leave a comfortable circle, even when you know it no longer serves you. But this too is part of the price of thinking differently. And if you want the profound reward, you must be willing to accept the cost. The discomfort of growth, the solitude that comes with focus, the distance that emerges when you decide to raise your standards. And I will tell you this, that solitude is necessary. It is in that quiet space that your new, authentic voice becomes distinct. It is in that stillness that you can finally hear yourself without interference. It is in that space that you are truly reborn. But when that happens, when you are alone with your thoughts, you must have a mental framework that can withstand storms. What does that mean? It means you cannot afford to have your inner state depend on everything being perfect outside. You must learn to hold on to powerful thoughts, even when your external world seems to be falling apart. And this is trained through small, consistent, conscious practices. Allow me to share a few with you. First, repeat your new beliefs every morning, even if they do not yet feel entirely true. Declare, I am in a process of growth. I am learning to trust myself. I am creating my future with every thought I choose. Do this every single day until your mind no longer knows how to think in the old way. Second, visualize. Even if no one else believes in your vision, see the life you desire vividly in your mind. Feel the emotions you would experience if it were already a reality. Train your brain to resonate at that frequency, and the more you do, the more naturally you will act from that place. Third, change the narrative in real time. The very instant a limiting thought arises, challenge it and change it. Do not let it roam freely. Do not make excuses for it. Simply state, thank you, but that is no longer who I am. Now, I choose to think differently. And then, actively think differently, even when it requires effort. Fourth, consciously surround yourself with voices that reinforce your new mindset. If no one in your immediate circle does this, seek out books, videos, audios, distant mentors. Create an environment that reflects what you are cultivating within. This is the essential message of this section. You cannot prevent the world from speaking to you, but you absolutely can choose which words you allow to remain. You cannot prevent weak or fearful thoughts from occasionally arising, but you can decide which ones you will entertain and give energy to. And you cannot avoid facing dark days, but you can train a mind that generates its own inner light. You become what you think. And if you think like a warrior, like a builder, like the leader of your own life, then nothing and no one can ultimately stop you. Your mind will cease to be a battlefield of conflicting thoughts and will become a fertile ground where whatever you sow grows. If you have journeyed with me this far, there is a truth you can no longer ignore. Thought is not merely a tool, it is the very raw material of your identity. What you believe is eventually reflected outward. What you repeatedly affirm is strengthened within. What you consistently hold in your mind, you will sooner or later live out in your life. And this leads us to one of the most powerful realizations of all. Your identity is not a fixed, unchangeable state. Your identity is trainable. Many people operate under the assumption that they are simply how they are. I am impatient. I am not good with numbers. I have always been this way. They repeat this story so frequently that it solidifies into their perceived truth. But it is not the ultimate truth. It is merely a mental program that has gone unquestioned. Listen to me. You are not what others have told you that you are. You are not the sum of your past mistakes. You are what you choose to believe about yourself, persistently, deliberately, day after day. And every repetition of a new, empowering belief is another brick laid in the construction of a new identity. One that is more solid, more free, more conscious. But here lies the challenge. The mind is not transformed from a single inspirational quote. It transforms through repetition, through practice, through unwavering intention. You could read 1,000 books on personal development. You could listen to hundreds of motivational speeches. But if you do not dedicate yourself daily to repeating, internalizing, and living out the thoughts you wish to integrate, your mind will default back to its old familiar patterns. The old patterns are automatic. The new ones must be manually installed with conscious effort. And how does one install a new identity? Through actions that are in perfect alignment with the thoughts you want to cement. It is one thing to think, I am a disciplined person. and quite another to live your life as a disciplined person would. It is one thing to think, I am courageous, and another to take action even when fear is present. So the formula is this: think the thoughts of your best possible self, act in ways that your best possible self would act, and repeat this process until the new version is the only one you recognize. Do this even when you do not feel ready. Do it even when your environment does not understand or support you. Do it even when the old critical voice in your head whispers, "Who do you think you are?" And you answer it with conviction. I am who I decide to be. Because this is the lesson many never receive, that being yourself is not a life sentence. It is a daily choice. And when you make that choice consciously, you grant yourself the power to reinvent yourself endlessly. You can transcend inherited fear, cultivated insecurity, and deeply ingrained doubt. Now, listen with great care. A solid, resilient identity is not built upon external results. It is built upon internal coherence. You do not need to achieve a specific goal to start thinking like a winner. You need to think like a winner in order to become one. If you wait for the external proof to arrive before you believe it, you will likely sabotage your progress long before you get there. So, what is the answer? You begin holding that new belief now, from a place of uncertainty, from a place of starting over, from ground zero. And this is the most powerful stance of all, to think expansively when you have no evidence to support it, to think with vision when your surroundings are steeped in mediocrity, to think with faith when logic and circumstance insist it cannot be done. This is the forge where an unbreakable mind is tempered. This is the pivotal point where the trajectory of your life is determined. And how can you make this process more consistent? By creating mental rituals, daily anchors, sacred moments where you intentionally connect with yourself to reaffirm who you are becoming. For instance, each morning, write down not what you currently feel, not what is holding you back, but who you have decided to be. Repeat this declaration until the words become flesh and blood, until they become fire and reality. Establish a core affirmation, one that encapsulates your entire vision, one you can cling to when everything feels unstable. Something like, I am capable of navigating my path. I am the master of my mental domain. I am the consciousness that creates my world. And when your mind wanders or wavers, return to this anchor. Repeat it until you find your center once more. Act each day as if you were already the person you aspire to be. Do not wait for a future date. Reject the temptation of excuses. Engage in the actions that your highest self would take. With every aligned action, you send a powerful message to your mind. This is real. This is who I am. This is the essence of the transformation. And in the beginning, it will be challenging. You will falter. You will experience doubt. You will stumble. But if you return again and again to the right thought, the new you will rise, stronger each time. What sustains your new identity is not flawless execution. It is relentless consistency. I want you to grasp this completely. There is no such thing as a neutral thought. Every thought either elevates you or diminishes you. It either fortifies your spirit or fractures your resolve. This is why you must be ruthlessly selective about what you allow to reside in your mind. You cannot afford the luxury of weak thinking. You cannot afford to cling to ideas that strip you of your personal power, because every time you do, you are surrendering the steering wheel of your life. You must take control, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of responsibility. No one else is going to build your mind for you. And if you do not actively choose what you think, someone or something else will. An old wound, a persuasive person, a past trauma, a cultural system, a digital screen, and then you will find yourself acting out a script you did not write. But that cycle ends now. Starting today, let your thinking be your sword, your shield, your most vital tool, your truest guide. Think as the person who has already overcome. Think as the person who has already arrived. Think as the person you already are. And the world will have no choice but to adjust to your new identity. Because when your mind transforms, everything in your reality transforms with it. Listen with the depths of your soul to what I am about to say. Everything, without exception, begins in your mind. Everything you are, everything you accomplish, everything you experience was first born as a concept, a thought, an invisible seed planted in the sacred soil of your consciousness. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the opinions others held about you. You are what you choose to think in this present moment, right here, right now. And if you dare to think with a sense of greatness, to think with unwavering purpose, to think with boundless faith, then your life cannot help but begin to reflect that new, elevated standard. Do you desire freedom? Then think as a free person thinks. Do you desire personal power? Then think with strength and conviction. Do you seek peace? Then cultivate a mind of tranquility. Do you long for transformation? Then have the courage to think in a radically different way. Because when your thoughts shift, your very energy shifts. And when your energy shifts, the quality of your decisions shifts. And when your decisions shift, the course of your destiny shifts accordingly. So, do not allow the world's noise to disconnect you from your inner truth. Do not permit doubts to sabotage the magnificent structure you are building. Do not abandon yourself precisely at the moment you need your own support the most. Make a genuine, non-negotiable commitment to yourself. Not a half-hearted attempt, not a passing trend, not a momentary burst of inspiration. Do it as someone who understands, on the most fundamental level, that their life depends on this commitment. Because it truly does. It depends on what you think in your moments of solitude. It depends on what you choose to believe when there is no audience to applaud you. It depends on your ability to remain firm when everything in your external world is shaking. And you possess this ability. You can rebuild yourself. You can shatter the old molds. You can forge an identity that does not limit you, but rather empowers you completely. You can learn to think like the master architect of your own life. The pivotal question is not whether you possess this inherent power. The question is whether you will dare to wield it, to reclaim it, to ignite it, and to keep its flame burning brightly. Even when it is difficult, even when it requires time, even if you stumble along the way, because you become what you think. And to think as your best self is the very first and most critical step toward becoming that person. Now, if this message has resonated with you, if this content has stirred something within, if these words have sparked an awakening in your spirit, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, not for the sake of numbers, but so we can build together a community of awakened minds, a collective of individuals who refuse to live in a state of sleepwalking, who refuse to settle for a life lived only halfway. Here, we communicate with authenticity, with truth, with passion, and with clear vision, because here, we choose to think as leaders, not as victims. Activate the notification bell. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. And most importantly, live out what you now think. Take action from your new, empowered identity. Let every single thought be a bold declaration of who you have decided to become. I look forward to connecting with you in the next video. Until then, remember this. You are not here by random accident. You are here to fundamentally change your life, thought by conscious thought. You become what you think. So think expansively. Think with power. Think as if your very life depends upon it, because it does.